Welcome back to Urban Sprawl, everyone. This is No Spring Chicken, and I want to do another enclosure in the zoo. So currently the zoo is still underway. We've got 2 enclosures with llamas and chickens, and I want to do another animal that has the different biome varieties. I want to do cows. Again, cows probably aren't the most exotic animal, and I guess they do belong in like a kid, a petting zoo for young children, but I do like the different varieties. I am including the mooshroom in this. Yes, I do want to get a mooshroom or 2 and bring them over, and yes, this will involve the mob transport system. So the good old gas is going to be used. It is going to take a long time to bring the different cows over to their enclosures, and I have found another camel. So while I was over getting some glass in the desert, I found another camel that had spawned. So he's in there. He's going to be offering camel rides. So I've just got him fenced off in a little area at the moment, but I will be giving him a nice enclosure that's got an area where people can get up on his back and he can go for a bit of a trek. So that's going to be happening as well at some point, but today I really want to focus on the cows. I'm thinking, because we've got 4 varieties of cow, the warm biome, the temperate and the cold, and the mooshroom. We can't forget the mooshroom. I'm thinking we might put them in these 2 enclosures. So we'll divide both of these in half, and we'll have the 4 different cow varieties in here. So you can walk through and have a look at all 4 of them at the same time. So they'll be on both sides. And as we get down further, we might start building some more enclosures, because I've only got a couple marked out at the moment. And it does get a little bit messy towards the river. I still have to build that bridge. I am thinking of going over the river and making some sort of entertainment area, maybe a showground type of thing with the pillagers somehow, but that's a long way down the track. That's not really one of my 6 big projects, but the zoo is one of my 6 big projects, and I'm looking forward to getting some cows into some enclosures here. Let's build a cow enclosure. Over to Mooshroom Island to collect some mycelium, because the mooshrooms like mycelium ground. I don't think the mooshrooms would appreciate being put on grass. I just have to be aware that mycelium does spread. So I need to keep an eye on it, and I might need to put borders down into the dirt so it doesn't spread into the next enclosure. But yes, so I'm over at Mooshroom Island at the floating farm collecting mycelium. I have a bit of an update. In our last episode, we played around with some portals, trying to get a shortcut through the nether to the floating farm. And I did have a portal here that I could come out of and then just fly up to the floating farm, and it worked quite nicely. Once. It worked nicely once. But apart from that, I had come through the portal, flown up to the floating farm, and I was pottering around trading with the villagers up there, and I realised that I hadn't heard the guardians falling for some time. So I thought, oh dear. So I flew down here and I went back through this portal into the nether, and I was inundated with guardians. Somehow this portal in the nether had connected to that portal up at the top of the lighthouse, and the guardians were spewing out into the nether. So I've had to break the two portals, and the fish farm is now working again with the guardians being scooped up down on the water there, going through the nether and then falling down in the lighthouse there. That is all working again. I have just got to fly. The portals, I don't know what happened. I honestly don't. I've just decided I'm going to have to fly over. And believe it or not, flying over to the floating farm to fix my equipment is actually faster than fixing it down in the skelly and zombie chambers. It's just quicker. I did a bit of timing, and even though I don't have really accurate numbers, it just felt like a long time waiting for the skeletons and the zombies to spawn, killing them, waiting for the next wave to spawn, and I could have just flown here and they would have been fixed within like 10 seconds. So it is still quicker to fly over to the floating farm than it is to use the skelly and zombie chamber to fix my equipment. But yes, I just have to fly. So I have got 35 blocks of mycelium, and I have been doing a bit of an experiment on Mooshroom Island here. I got some grass which was naturally spawning right down just a couple of blocks of grass there, and I'm gradually building it up and seeing how quickly it spreads. Because I'm not often at Mooshroom Island, it's taking a long time, but oh, look at that green. I know a lot of people prefer the green grass in a mushroom island because of the beautiful colour of it. It's almost an emerald colour, one could say. But yes, it does take a long time to spread, and the mycelium is a lot stronger than the grass. So you have to be digging it out and making sure that there's no mycelium that's going to spread onto the dirt. So that's what I need to keep an eye on when we take the mycelium back to the zoo. Speaking of going back to the zoo, I'm going to fly home, put the mycelium down, get the rest of the enclosures finished, and then we'll start transporting these little guys. So I've got the start of the enclosures finished, and I've decided not to put the roof on it yet, because when we bring the cows over with the mob transportation system, we can just lower them into their enclosure, get them safely dropped off, and then we can put the roof on the enclosures and finish it with decorations and whatnot. The mycelium hasn't really spread. So you can see I've put in the mycelium that I've got, trying to spread it around, and I've put in some pale moss carpet over the sea lanterns to hide the glow. But yeah, I thought it would take off. It must be because it's not in its own biome. So I need to get some more mycelium, and we may as well get the mooshroom while we're there. Let's go get some mooshrooms. I've finished putting the final touches on the cow enclosures and they're finished. And I can say this, moving any sort of mob with the happy ghast is a very, very slow and time-consuming process. Very laborious, but it's done. Let's have a look. We've got the cold biome cows, and I have tried putting some ice and snow in there, but given that we're in a savanna, I'm finding that the snow melts. So there's a few pieces of carpet in there to give the idea of snow. I don't think too many other areas of snow have melted, but I think I've done very well giving it a cold temperature feel. I have completely covered the floor in there with mossy carpet to give it a richer green to match the spruce feel to the cold climate. Oh, aren't they cute? I love the animation that I have on this. All the animals have got some really cool animations. Here we have the warm biome cows, and I've gone for a jungle feel with this biome. This is possibly the harder one to simulate because I did grow 2 jungle trees. They are jungle wood trees, but when they grew, their leaves were this colour. That olive colour of the savannah, which isn't very much like jungle, so I've used spruce leaves instead. I think they're the only leaf that doesn't change its colour when put in a savannah. So we've got some jungle trees, we've got some cocoa beans. I have also covered the ground with the mossy carpet to give it a bit of a richer green look. But they're the warm climate cows. There's not much difference between the look of the two. The warm biome cows are a little bit darker than the cold climate, but the shape of them's the same. And over here we have the mooshrooms, which are very, very different to the other cows. And yes, I did use the rest of the mycelium to completely cover the floor in there. And I also grew a mushroom, which just fits under the roof, which is very nice. So the mooshrooms are very content in their little enclosure, which I think simulates a mushroom island very, very nicely. And I haven't had any of the mycelium spread. So I'm hoping with the bamboo blocks and the stone step here, I'm hoping it's not going to spread around because I do not want a mycelium outbreak. And over here we've got the normal cows. Just the normal run-of-the-mill, everyday default cow. So we've got a couple of different levels for them to roam around in. I'm actually looking forward to updating the server and getting the Forever Baby modification. So I believe in one of the latest updates you feed it a dandelion and the babies won't grow up, so they'll be forever babies, because I think it would be nice to have a forever baby in all the animal enclosures actually, so you get to see the baby and the adult form of that animal. I think that would be really good, so I'm looking forward to that update. We only did the 2 cow enclosures this episode, but believe me, that was a bigger job than it looks. I think we might leave it there for the episode, guys, and even though it seems like we only built enclosures for the cows, it was a very time-consuming episode. As you saw in the time lapse, I flew over to the cold biome to get the cold biome cows, thinking I'd row them back in boats, and I can tell you that took a long time. If we have a look at the map, so the cold cows are from this area, and I've cut some trees down and put some torches out so we can see that's the area. I got the cold biome chickens and the cold biome cows. And as you can see, if we zoom out a bit, going by water, there isn't really a direct route to the city. There's the city there. So I ended up thinking, oh yes, I'll end up back in this area. So I ended up going a long way south before I decided to head back and go by foot. I decided here to trek via across country, so bringing the cows in the waterways as much as possible and then getting out of the boats and walking them across country was very time consuming, I must admit. And then I managed to get to the iron farm. We came through here and past the village and up via that way. So at the end of that trek, I only ended up with one cow because one of them perished. So then I took the happy gast all the way back, picked up some cows, flew it all the way back, and then we went to the warm biome out this way to get the warm biome cows with the happy gast and, of course, mooshroom. So very, very time consuming. So I hope you liked the episode. Our zoo is starting to have a real feel for different biomes now. And while I was bringing the cold biome cow back via the boat, I found some jungle that hasn't been explored, which means we've got pandas. I'm looking forward to having a panda enclosure in the future, which is going to be really exciting. So if you've got an animal that you would like an enclosure built for, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you've got any suggestions about better ways to get the animals to the enclosure, let me know also. But apart from that, that's the episode. If you did enjoy the episode and the antics getting the animals here, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm No Spring Chicken, and I'll see you next time. Bye.